Hello, welcome. You are on the Heart of Success show, and I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time zone. And here on this show, I share with you all different experiences, knowledge, and practices about how can we create success in all areas of our lives. I was traveling for the last 6 weeks, and my show was mostly recorded for these 6 weeks and been just coming up itself. I'm back now safely to Australia and really would like to share today with you everything that happens in many countries because I was traveling mainly in Eastern Europe, countries like Russia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and some other countries. And really would like to share with you that anywhere I go, people like you and me, all the same. And these people are all longing and desiring peace, um, unity, sharing, creating. And that's what really is happening on the ground in each country. So, today I want to really show you that there is, of course, some type of people that are feeling so in panic, in so much um, in fear. That is actually affecting the whole process. We are now in a spiritual war. We are now in a phase of the human evolution, starting to get into the different level of understanding and consciousness of how we can create our reality. But of course, we all live in a system, right? And a system is really wanting us to vibrate in a lower level of ego. And that's why when we all receive this information on a daily basis, all of these different types of news, which I realized being in that other part of the world is mostly fake. There's a lot of lie in that news channel. And of course, once the news is coming out and inserted into the daily posts and start to get shared, well, many people get into this panic mode because the ego is reacting straight away, because the ego afraid for the physical annihilation, right? It's like and this is the task of the ego, to react quickly. And what it makes us to do is to quickly go and search for more information uh, in order to defend and protect itself, protect the physical existence. And because of the news and everything that happened for the last, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 years, but for the last 2.5 years, it was extremely challenging and extremely confronting for people to realize that the reality that we thought we lived before is really collapsing. And the ego task is protect ourselves, and it will search for more information in order to create some sort of emotional stability. But it's never gonna to happen, because this is the ego oriented reaction, which of course keeps more fear and keeps accumulating all of the fake news, all of these emotional reactions that based on that ego protective mechanism. And the more the ego drive us to look for peaceful or stable information, the more we are falling into that trap of um, being in fear, being in protective mode, being in a fearful space of the ego-oriented vibration, right? And once we are in that vibration, what do we really do is we actually help all of this all of this reality that the system is creating for us. So we helping that reality to get into the into the existence, because we keep vibrating on that ego oriented space, and the system wants that, and system knows that, and it's designed all of the system that seemingly seemingly keep us into this stability and safety. For example, the retirement plans, the financial plans, the structures that are protective of our movements, like insurance and things like that. So we accustomed to have all of these structures, but right now it seems like it's going to collapse, and we have this unknown feeling of what's going to happen in the future, what and how our lives going to look like, how the lives of our children and grandchildren will look like. We don't know, and that's why the ego reacts immediately, because we're receiving constantly this information of unknown. And we have to start to understand that all of these things that happening around us is a truly spiritual war. It is an informational terror to keep us in that ego oriented reaction, because once we are in that ego oriented reaction, we are supporting exactly what the system wants to create. So we need to start to really have the courage to extract yourself from that place. And number one, to do this, you need to start to stop looking for more information, or even stop listening any kind of sources of information that is on a mainstream or anywhere really, because you need to start to train and build up your spiritual muscle, your unity within yourself, your emotional stability, until you are strong enough and courageous enough to be able to listen all of this information and news, and still keep yourself in your center, and still keep your critical thinking, and be able to process all of this information with healthy curiosity and constructive thinking. Because until you're not strong enough to be able to handle and regulate your own ego oriented reaction, well, then you constantly gonna to recreate and accumulate the space of being in reaction and in defense. And once you're in defense, you completely losing your inventiveness, your creativity, and your ability to actually affect or influence building new reality. So what I'm going to tell you is that around the world, people are all united in terms of wanting, desiring, and having intention to create a new reality. But there's, of course, people that are keeping themselves in that ego oriented space, and they keep vibrating on a level of what the system want them to vibrate. So they keep blaming, they keep judging, they keep wanting to have revenge for these outside factors that are creating pain for them, that creating instability, sense of unfairness. So this is all a part of that a planned system that is creating the reality that we don't want. So I really invite you, number one, to catch yourself if you are reacting, if you are receiving some sort of information and immediately reacting with anger, reacting with fear, and reacting with all sorts of impulses to look for more information, to start to protect yourself somehow, and you start to feel very anxious and irritable. So you are really reading yourself off your constructive, effective time. You actually cannot do your work uh, properly if you are in such a state. But a lot of people right now understanding that this stage of what we're going through is a growth process. This process is inevitable. So the changes are inevitable. All of these new concepts that are in the air, most likely is inevitable. But in what form this reality will come up is up to us. It is fully our own responsibility and our own power that we have that ability and power to change what is actually planned by the system, simply by disattaching yourself from all these sources of the fake information: TV, your radio, your different social media things, because most of it are fake information, all distorted, and the reality of that is really questionable. So if you still keep connection to that informational terror and fake information field, you will be sitting in that ego space, and that ego space will create more fear, will create more separation, will create more distortions and distractions, and help exactly what is planning by the system, by the ego-oriented leaders, or ego-oriented system that been with us for many thousands of years, I guess. And that's why it is so important right now to really look at yourself and have that intimate courage for yourself to disattach yourself from the informational war, and get yourself in preparation to be able to influence these processes from the place of unity, from the place of courage, from the place of joy. Many ask me about how can that be joyful. Well, it can be joyful because I'm joyful, because finally humanity is now facing a great cleansing and great cleansing, and a lot of cost will be, of course, involved in this process. But the cost that you personally can lower to pay is to disattach yourself from the ego space, and from the ego survival defensive mechanism that it's constantly created. And the system is constantly keeping you in that space of creating that ego oriented separation, right? So, number one, disattach yourself from this news that are most likely is fake, because I checked and I looked myself at what was told about, let's say, Russia, and how people are living there, and what's happening with all these big companies leaving Russian market. On the ground there, not much changed. Maybe the name changed and things changed a little bit in terms of the supply chain or the logistics, but really there's nothing changed in terms of the lack of products or lack of any services. So as in any shopping or in any service companies, there's abundance, a complete abundance of the products, services, as it was 5 years ago, or as it was some years ago when there was a building of all of these structures. Uh, Many other countries are also having the same sort of dynamics. But again, this is uh, people's choice, right? It's a spiritual war, it is an informational war, and it is up to each and every one of us how we can help to shift the plan of the system and start to create what really want to have our life as a reality, how we want this new concepts and new development with all the new technologies, how can we use it for our benefit, and how can we create our life in a way that it will be healthy, it will be peaceful, will be kind, people will be responding with love and respect everywhere, in all countries. So, number one, disattach yourself from the news. Number two, find a very peaceful place, preferably in the nature. Go and sit near the lake. Go bare feet on the grass. Listen, birds are singing, and allow yourself to start to get out of that ego place that you constantly live in right now, and start to get above the battleground of the physical reality. And I'm not saying that when you just go into that higher mind and higher imperative that you all have ability to access, you're not gonna to you're gonna be living in a fantasy life. No, by doing this, you directly affecting the reality on the ground in the physical world. That's why, because when you get yourself out of that ego, you will start to create that connection with your spiritual higher self that will change and recalibrate your system to stay more in peace and have constructive thinking, critical thinking, and any event or news that will come to you, you will be able to hold yourself in center in your connection, and you will then not living from that survival defensive ego space. You will be living from that curiosity and saying, okay, I'm observing everything that happening around me, and I'm curious how that will play around, but I'm not buying in to this fearful space, and I'm not supporting the system matrix that was planned or is planning for us in the future. So if each of us gonna to do that, well, the reality will be completely different. I'm telling you, people like you and me are all want to have peace, are all looking for a very loving and very peaceful, respectful, kind environment, because people just simply want to have this reality where we're all living in unity, right? So, but of course, there's forces out there that is trying to keep us constantly in that egoistic and ego-oriented place, where then we won't be able to rise above that fearful, separated, dark place. And that's why we will help them to create what they want. So I would like to finish for today. And I'm thanking you for support. So I am gonna be live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time zone, and I will share with you my experiences of my travel for the last 6 weeks with different stories. So stay with me every Wednesday at 2 p.m. And I really would like you to start to consider the possibility that what I was telling you today is absolutely possible. It only needs to be your willful shift from the space of ego into the space of unity. Thank you so much. And I would like to put that music.